This is Dominic DeAngelo, and this is episode 1 of the 5 Count. I'm going to read the 5 stories that I think might be pretty significant for this week. And you get to join me in a fine libation and some wild sensations. Let's get to it. Article number 1 comes from Ella J of WrestlingInc.com, and it is the backstage news on matches being discussed to main event WWE WrestleMania 39. The road to WrestleMania 39 is heating up, and so are the discussions on who should headline the two-night spectacle. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, while WWE continues to weigh in on the prospects for Night 1 main event, the image of Night 2 is forming more clearly. After retaining his WWE Universal Championship at Elimination Chamber, Roman Reigns will now pivot to the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble winner in Mr. Cody Rhodes. This title match is expected to headline Night 2 on April 2nd. The main event for Night 1, however, remains up in the air. The newsletter report noted that no official decision has been made regarding who will ultimately close out the first night. But there seems to be a push for a women's match to headline Night 1, with the internal feeling pulling in the favor of the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship match between Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. The other plausible choice would be the WWE Raw Women's Championship bout between Bianca Belair, who previously main evented Night 1 of WrestleMania 37, and the 2023 Women's Elimination Chamber match winner, Asuka. Right now, though, Flair versus Ripley appears to be considered the stronger option by those within the company. So, I think Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns should close out Night 2. Now, as far as Night 1 goes, I'm kind of in that boat, too, with it specifically being Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. We had that matchup happen before at WrestleMania, but Rhea Ripley was not around the realm of where she should be at currently today, and now she is. So it makes a lot of sense. They're already hyping it on SmackDown. Charlotte Flair mentioned that she's the mommy to a handsome Latino man back at home. We all know who that is. And so they're building towards it. And these two women can go. I think it's a good Night 1 main event. You have a good setup card build for Night 1, and then Night 2, you cap it off with Cody versus Roman Reigns. Night 1 of WrestleMania 38 now really stole the show and was one of my favorite WrestleManias that I could think of in a long, long time, because you had Becky Lynch going up against Bianca Belair. They tore the house down. And you closed it out with Kevin Owens facing a returning Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm 100% for this. I think Night 2, ending it with Roman and Cody, would really mean a lot of things, and then position Cody in the right position, unseating Roman Reigns, in my opinion, would be the way to go. Heck, you can even get away with turning Cody Rhodes heel. So you think about that. Article number 2. We will head over to WrestleZone, my old stomping grounds, and get a little detail there. Here it is, by the prodigy known as Colin Tessier. It is a report, again from Meltzer's newsletter, but Kenny Omega's AEW contract extended due to time missed with injury. Kenny Omega's contract with All Elite Wrestling has reportedly been extended. Omega, a former AEW World Champion, has been in the headlines in recent weeks as fans have buzzed about his future. His contract was set to be coming up, but a previous report noted that AEW might be able to extend the deal due to the length of time that Omega missed as he recovered from various injuries after AEW Full Gear in 2021. Dave Meltzer reported the news of the extension in the newest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter and elaborated it on the Wrestling Observer radio. Per Meltzer, 4-year deal was set to expire on January 31st, but an injury clause in the contract allowed AEW to extend it. Meltzer noted that the exact amount of the added time has not been finalized yet, but Omega is now working on under a contract. On the Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer stated that he did not think more time could be added for the suspension Omega served after the fight between the Elite, Omega and the Young Bucks, and CM Punk after AEW Brawl Out. Excuse me, Freudian slip. All Out 2022. Though he wasn't served. Omega and the Young Bucks won the AEW World Trios Championship on the January 11th episode of AEW Dynamite by defeating Death Triangle, Rey Fenix, Penta Zero M, and Pac. They will defend the titles against the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. Outside of AEW, Omega is the reigning IWGP United States champion. He defeated Will Ospreay to win that title at New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 17 on January 4th. So Omega, much like Cody Rhodes, was one of the big figureheads of AEW starting off. I think that AEW has missed something greatly in the absence of Cody Rhodes not being there. He truly felt like an ambassador there. While he main evented, but he also transcended other outlets, pop culture news, reality show. He had that kind of presence about him. Kenny kind of presents that in the same way, maybe a little bit on the smaller scale. But I do believe that Kenny is somebody that AEW should really hone in and focus on and position into a bigger role coming up. But they need to do that with a lot of stars, and they need to whittle down a lot of who they present on television to make those stars feel special. Kenny Omega staying there is very important. If he went to WWE, not that he would be interested, but if he went, it would be another big get for WWE, and it would feel like AEW is much less than. You don't want that to happen. You don't want that vibe to happen. It really felt like a gut punch when Cody Rhodes went to WWE. Good for him. I love him in WWE, but from an AEW perspective, if you're Tony Khan, it had the effects. It did have the effects. All right, let's go to article number 3. This is from Fightful, again, by the prodigy Colin Tessier and the mercenary himself, Mr. Robert D. Felice. Arn Anderson thinks Powerhouse Hobbs could be AEW champion one day. Says he has all the tools. Arn Anderson believes Powerhouse Hobbs has a lot of potential. Hobbs made his AEW debut in July of 2020, and he subsequently joined Team Taz alongside Taz, Brian Cage, and the Absolute Ricky Starks. Throughout his time in AEW, he has been featured on TV and in pay-per-view matches. Hobbs has faced top stars like CM Punk and Hangman Page, among other notable names. He also has challenged for the TNT Championship, the AEW, and the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Speaking on his Arn podcast, WWE Hall of Famer Arn Anderson, the Enforcer, was asked to name who he thinks could win the AEW World Championship one day. He named Hobbs and noted that with a little more time and experience, he could reach that level. Anderson said that Hobbs had all the athletic potential, but he needs more matches with experienced wrestlers. I think if given a little more time and a little more experience, Powerhouse Hobbs, he has all the athletic potential. He is a quality human being, a beast. He can turn it up. He's explosive. He just needs to be in a bunch of matches with guys that have more experience than him, and he will pick it up just like that. A lot of time for Powerhouse, Anderson said. Anderson went on to describe how Hobbs has all the tools. He just needs the reps. The legend noted that reps are key to the success in the wrestling business, as many of the top stars have had thousands of matches. Anderson noted that some of the younger talent in AEW have only had 50 matches, and some of them have even less experience. He's got all the tools. He's got on a level. He just needs reps. Reps are key, guys, to this business. These guys that you see out there are so good. The Bryan Danielsons, Ambrose, all those guys, all the top shelf guys that can perform because they've had thousands of matches. Fans are looking at these kids out here on show, AEW, and some of them have under 50 matches. A lot of them between 50 and 100 matches. I'm talking about for their career. For us, that was 3 months' work, Anderson said. Arn also commented on the news that AEW will start running house shows soon by noting that there's nothing more valuable than getting practice in a live setting. Hobbs recently stated that he would love to be featured more on AEW TV. It's true, and Hobbs should be. Again, we mentioned Kenny Omega in the previous segment. I still think the same for Powerhouse Hobbs should be one of those focuses, along with Ricky Starks, along with, let me see who else. Obviously, Moxley should be up there. MJF should be there, but you really should be focusing on a Darby Allin too as well, and building around there. You only have so much TV time, and you have a huge roster if you're Tony Khan, and you need to hone in and focus on those select stars. Powerhouse Hobbs should be one of them. He stands out. He's got unique facials, and he's able to have a presence to show you that this guy is nobody to mess with. You build him up, but you have to really focus in on your select stars. Select stars is the key phrase there. But I'm with Arn, baby. Powerhouse has it. He's got it. All the good stuff coming forward. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. All right. It is article number 4. Here we go. Another article by Mr. Colin Tessier, the prodigy at WrestleZone.com. Matt Hardy. Jeff Hardy has committed himself to getting better. He's ready to begin anew. Matt Hardy offers an update on Jeff Hardy and comments on his brother's hard work in recent months. In June of 2022, Jeff was arrested on multiple charges, including driving under the influence, and he was subsequently suspended by AEW. The company announced that he would be allowed to return to the ring after successfully completing treatment and maintaining his sobriety. Speaking on a special Ask Matt Anything edition of The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy and ad-free show subscribers, Matt was asked to offer an update on Jeff and how he's doing. He's doing great. As we record this right now, tomorrow's the 23rd, and I think he's going to court. He just wanted to get this all behind him. They feel like they've been in a pretty good position because he's done all the work necessary. He went to rehab for many, many days. He did an outpatient treatment for months. He has really dedicated himself, and he's committed himself to getting better. The biggest barometer, and my biggest judge of how he is just how happy his wife is about him and where he's at in his life. Every time I've talked to him, he's been very good, very positive. I actually had a long conversation with him about some stuff that myself and Reby we're working on as far as business goes, about how trying to expand the House Hardy brand. And he was definitely on board. He just has to get past this. So fingers crossed it happens on the 23rd. He just wants to get it all behind him and try to right his wrongs. He's been ready to pay his penance and move past it and begin anew. On February 23rd, Jess Legal's case was closed as the court ruled that his driver's license would be suspended. Among other penalties, he'd be credited from his previous time spent in jail. Jeff Hardy's license has been suspended for 10 years. Matt tweeted that he is proud of his brother for working extraordinarily hard on himself. He stated that Jeff is in the best space he's seen him in for decades. Matt also noted that he's excited for Jeff's new lease on life. It's currently unclear when Jeff will return to AEW. WrestleZone will provide more information as it becomes available. I'm excited for Jeff. I'm happy for Jeff. Jeff Hardy is a very nice person. So it's good to see that he gets another chance here. Obviously, DUI is very dangerous, very irresponsible. But being able to get this other chance and kind of hit the reset button, even if he doesn't return to wrestling, is good news for Jeff Hardy. I'm happy for Matt Hardy. I'm happy for both the Hardys. Yes, knowing Jeff and who he is, he's a great person, so I'm very happy to see that happen. All right. I think it's time to close it out with the final article of the week from WrestlingInc.com. It is by me, your very own Dominic DeAngelo. Let me take a drink here. Eric Bischoff comments on AEW All Access announcement. Eric Bischoff remains optimistic about AEW All Access. Along with Adam Cole's return, the reveal of a new reality series on TBS was part of Tony Khan's big announcement on Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, and Bischoff weighed in about the new show on Strictly Business. The former WCW president noted that TBS has shown good faith in AEW by choosing to commit to a new unscripted series, but did temper expectations. I don't think people should look too much beyond other than it being a good indication, Bischoff said, who has experience with reality television and know it's not just following people around with cameras. Formatting has become even more critical element when it comes to non-scripted, he said, building a story for the characters and making sure that those characters resonate with the audience when there is no action. Another aspect that needs to be considered is the ability for all parties involved to work together cohesively. If the show is successful, then the showrunner, along with the talent and AEW, have made a commitment to do just that. Bischoff adds that Sam Burns, the showrunner for Cody and Brandy Rhodes' Roads to the Top, is also an executive producer for AEW All Access. He believes Burns is more than capable of guiding such a program. However, the question now is if the ratings boost will be for this week's AEW Dynamite was due to the build towards Revolution or if it was because of Khan's important announcement. It would be unfortunate if that 20% odd increase is due to the fact that people were tuning in anticipation of this important announcement, because if that was the case, that's the same 20% are going to leave and they won't be back next week. Bischoff has been very open with constructive criticism when it comes to AEW, and he doesn't pull any punches. And I am more with him than I am against him on it, because the proof is in the pudding, and he said that on Strictly Business. He used that terminology because you see the ratings each week in and out, and they've plateaued or they've declined. Rampage has nosedived, while Dynamite has plateaued and it has dipped a bit. So you want, being a wrestling fan or being in the wrestling business and wanting the best for the wrestlers themselves, you want to see both companies flourish. You want to see all wrestling flourish and become popular, because it helps everybody. Competition is great, but it boils back to what was said the third time today, that Tony Khan needs to hone in on certain talent. He needs to focus his booking in and needs to really hone in on storytelling. Very important. It's what's AEW's been missing. I would make an argument greatly since Cody Rhodes was there, and a lot of those other minds where Dustin Rhodes was a featured player, and you had these talents that would slow the pace down of it. The action's great and can be fun, but what's it mean? Does any of it matter? It feels like it doesn't. AEW used to be event tune-in television for me. Now I can miss a week and not even think about it. It's almost like catching up on a soap opera in certain ways, where you could go months without it. But as long as you're familiar with who the talent are, you can pick it right back up. Not necessarily a good thing in this aspect, because you want to be intrigued week in and week out and make each week mean something. Doesn't have to mean for every talent, the same talent each and every week, but you need something to keep that people engaged, keep them intrigued. A reality show is not going to do it. A reality show as a big announcement did not feel like a big announcement. It just didn't. So now, where are we going to go from here? That is the question. But this time, it's been a good debut episode of the 5 Count. I thank you all for joining me. This is Dominic DeAngelo, and I'll see you next time here. Cheers.